Hello and welcome to another episode. Okay, Eddie, Eddie's lipping everything that I'm saying right now. You're like a 4-year-old. Eddie's super excited about today's
I'm excited
podcast.
Every episode. What are you talking about today? Every episode is a 10 out of 10 in terms of level of excitement for me, okay?
I don't know. I think that, yes, it's the podcasting, but also you just made yourself a fresh, hot cup of coffee.
It's a 10 out of 10. That is a 10 out of 10. Because
Caffeine's-
I made it nice and hot, not lukewarm like
Excuse
some
me.
other people have made it for me.
Excuse me. I've made you some good coffee lately.
You have, yeah.
Yeah.
When? Yeah, exactly. That's why I made my own.
Dude, we haven't even gotten through like the Welcome to the Choose Strong podcast, and we're already going back and forth right now. Friends, if you have already started your run, we just want to say, well done. Thanks for allowing us to join you today. For those of you that have just slipped into the front seat of your car, kids, what is up? For all of our commuters, we are so happy to be blaring through your speakers. I'm pretty sure that when they turn on the Choose Strong podcast, they just volume goes up.
Volume goes up.
Right? All attention on...
Or when you're speaking, volume goes down. They're like, all right, it's kind of loud there.
Whoa. Hey, you know what? If it's morning commute, I'm going to wake you up, friends.
Yes.
Going to wake
Yes,
you up.
you are.
Good morning. For those of you that are preparing food in the kitchen, sewing on the motorcycle. What were the other ones we had?
I see
Renovating.
I see you if you're washing the dishes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone says, I only listen to the podcast when I'm washing dishes. She goes, I actually now look forward to washing the dishes.
Oh, wow.
Look
That's
at that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so for any of the mundane activities
Getting those chores done.
that you need to add in a little entertainment to, take us along for that. We love
right.
it.
That's right.
I also need to give a big shout for everyone that just walked into the gym. Now, today's podcast episode is titled Strong Body. We're going to talk about
That's why I have
all
my shirt
things.
off.
I just want to apologize to everyone on YouTube watching right now. That's why I have my shirt off.
Yeah.
Eddie is wearing a shirt.
I do not have my shirt off. I am fully clothed.
But people can only see you waist up. So are you
Sure.
wearing pants?
I am wearing pants. Yes, I am wearing pants.
Kids, don't worry. We're just joking around over here. So for everyone that's just walked into the gym, we are going to be talking about strength training today. All things strong body. Eddie and I so often touch on strong mind and how that really affects us in our everyday life, right down to the racing and training. But really building a strong mind, your strongest muscle that you have is so important in everything you do. But we thought we'd get just like really practical, get down to the nitty gritty of strength training, kind of talk about a little bit of the myths and messages that are out there that confuse people. And then what has worked for Eddie and I over the years. Ever since I've known Eddie, he has been strength training. Ed, I know that's something that you love and that you continuously enjoy, which reminds me, because I know that you are in a strength training cycle right now, why not just insert Eddie's goals segment right now? Let's just dive right in, because apparently the Eddie's goals segment has become everyone's favorite segment.
It's my favorite segment for sure.
Well, I think you kind of set the podcast on fire when you said, my goal is to not run for the next 8 weeks.
Loser.
But you know what we all love about you, Eddie? You're just so relatable and real. And the beauty inside your goals is that you are always working towards something. And I think that's what we have kind of, brought into almost every discussion in the last few weeks, is how consistency is the most important thing that we do, whether it's consistency in our parenting, in our careers, in working on relationships. I mean, that's something we are consistently doing. When you want to build a strong relationship, you always have to be working on it. And it's the same thing with taking care of our bodies. Health and fitness doesn't have to be like the 60-day challenge or the training cycle up to a marathon. It's just every day we want to know that we can get better, we can work towards something, and every day looks different. And so I really love that you are sharing the real nitty-gritty stuff about what you're doing. So Eddie, can you give us an update on your goals?
I can. I've been waiting for this segment. So I'm 4 weeks into an 8-week goal. And I can honestly say that 4 weeks in, I am sticking to my goal, nailing it, have not run one foot in 4 weeks. So yes, I am being very consistent and not running. So
yesterday when we got to the airport, for some weird reason, you decided to sit on the other side of the gate at the Austin airport, and I was getting coffee for the fam.
Yeah.
And I came walking up and I was like, did you get our boarding passes? Because we'll talk about this story later. The fiasco of canceled flight after canceled flight. And so we had to get our seat assignments at the gate. And you're like, yeah, I got them. Plane is at 8 a.m. We got the first leg taken care of. I was there at 7 a.m. Talked to the lady, here's the tickets. We're sitting there and all of a sudden we hear our names over the intercom. McRae family of 4, your plane is fully boarded. Where are you? And I'm looking at you like, what are we doing? And then I saw you run.
I had to maybe jog. I don't know if I ran. I jogged.
So I saw maybe like 10, 20 steps, Ed.
No, I did not break my goal. It is still going strong. That does not count. Don't try to ruin my goal right now. So yeah, I got 4 more weeks of no running. And okay, I will be honest in that this past week, I don't know what it was, but I did kind of miss getting outside for a run. So I haven't run.
Oh, like you had a longing.
I was like, oh,
you had a little bit of longing.
Kind of like, I miss,
temperatures have warmed up.
Miss getting out there now, and so that's good.
Here's the thing. Your route for your morning walk, which I love that you do this. I admire it about you.
Yeah.
Your 3-mile morning walk.
Yeah.
You are surrounded by morning runners.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point in the day, whether we're grabbing the kids from school, or you're dropping Isaiah off at work, he works at HSS right there off PCH and Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you have to, we have to drive down PCH and you can see the beach path the entire drive.
Yeah.
So do you think that's part of it? You're seeing other people getting their runs in. They got their shirts off, sweating in the sun. They got that tan going, and
just
you're like
glistening. Yeah, I missed that. I missed
the full detail. You're like, wait a minute. 6-pack abs.
No, that might be part of it. Just getting, a tan while I run. I think that's what I miss. No, that's it for the goal segment.
That is not it for the goal segment. Okay, I'm glad that you're keeping to it. Can you kind of break down what your gym sessions actually are looking like right now? Are you excited about going to these gym sessions? Is there some type of kind of plan that you have, whether it's like rigid, it's loose, or an idea? Like what is each session kind of looking like for you when you show up at the gym?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last time, but it's there's not really a plan I'm following. Surprisingly, I just kind of go in there and whatever I'm feeling like I want to do, I'll do. So it's been very, very nice mentally to go in and do whatever I want and not really have a game plan. So just trying to get in there and do something. So
right. How long are these sessions lasting on average?
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
I try to get in the sauna for 15,
20 minutes. Now your sauna is like 200 degrees. So
it's 190. Yes.
Yeah. That's
15 minutes of 190.
That's
a couple times a week.
It's pretty stout.
It's definitely stout. Yep. So that's been the training.
Okay.
Been fairly consistent with that.
Yeah. How have you been feeling? Energy levels, like, are you happy with this plan? Like, are you feeling good on it? Mentally, how are you feeling? Do you feel like recovered from the run? You said that you actually missed running this week, and I think that is a very good sign. That kind of also tells that you are recovered and that you have like done the recovery phase right when you actually start missing what you were doing.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I mean, I do feel better when I do when I run, when I like do some cardio. I haven't been doing cardio stuff, so I feel like, I don't know how to say it, but there's a sense of like you feel better when you are running. I don't know how to explain.
I think
that,
there's
but
a little science in there.
yeah,
I think there's some
there is.
science, with getting those endorphins flowing.
Yeah.
Getting your heart rate up, for a consistent amount of time.
Yeah.
That just, you're flushing the body. Now you did mention that you've been walking, so doing your 3-mile walks, which is great. So I've heard you a few times throughout the week say things like, "Oh yeah, I got 15,000 steps today. I got 10,000 steps today." So it sounds like you're getting some good, like, easy cardio. Have you hit the stair mill or anything like that? Is that something that you're looking forward to, or is that just right now you're just going in just to lift?
Yeah, I have intentions of doing that, but I have not done a lot of that. So, I feel like I need to do some of that.
Yeah,
I need to get
you're feeling
get back
like
on the cardio wagon a bit,
right?
Because the old stomach is telling me, "Hey,
the stomach,
you need to do some cardio and less of the eating." So, yeah.
Well, we just got back from Austin, Texas,
Yeah.
and one of the highlights of the trip was watching Mackenzie go be put through a track workout with the amazing coach Jeff Cunningham, who's the head coach of Bat City Runners. He coaches anywhere from like pro elite runners, mainly road and track athletes. He has a small handful of ultra runners, and some top stars, youth runners in the nation. So he is just an all around great guy. He's a dear friend. Very happy to call him friend. He has started coaching Mackenzie as soon as her season was done. He's been coaching her in her lead up to the Nike Outdoor Championships, where she's going to compete in the mile this month. Oh my gosh, happy June, everyone.
Happy June.
So that is going to be in just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But you got to sit and watch her rip around the track. I know Parker Stinson was out there too.
Yep.
Jeff coaches him, and I can't remember who the other athlete was. I was out doing a photo shoot. So we had, Mackenzie has just newly signed an NIL contract with Bear Performance Nutrition. She's been using their stuff for a long time, primarily their gels in between events on the track.
Yeah.
And then she drinks their electrolytes quite a bit, has some protein powders, takes some of their supplements. She's all dialed in on that. So they had a film crew also filming Mackenzie. And then I was out on the Texas trails in Austin because we released the new Go Gel in the mango flavor, which has my signature on it.
Pretty cool.
Has the Yellow Runner signature. There's a little story on the side of the box.
Yeah.
If you get that, we'll put the link in the show notes. It's a gel. It's got 100 calories, 24 grams carbs, pretty standard for most gels. But it was really fun to do this collaboration. So it was a very busy weekend. But I want to come back to the original point that I was saying. When you were watching Mackenzie run around the track at lightning speed paces, the girl is fast.
Yeah.
Were you also kind of feeling like, wow, I should probably start running again, or I miss running?
Yeah, after the workout, I pulled Coach Jeff aside and I said, "Hey man, I know you coach some elites, you're coaching some big, high school athletes. You have this Bat City club going on." And I just straight up asked him, "Do you have any room, for me on the team?" And
I'm calling lie right now.
He literally did not say anything. He just looked at me and walked away. So I don't think he thought I was serious.
Listeners, he is joking around.
He is joking.
He's joking.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah. I mean, watching that it's always inspiring when you watch people just ripping around the track. That Parker Stinson was
insane.
Just they're so fun to watch, right? Like it's like I always look at those guys, especially when they're running in groups. They look like the Thunderbirds, like the Thunderbirds are like blue angels in the sky. You know how they're just like so in tune and smooth and just running around the track, and they're so fast, so fun to watch. So
absolutely.
It's hard not to get inspired by watching a track workout.
I agreed.
Yeah.
I love watching track. I like watching the elite field in road marathons when they air that on TV too. It's such beautiful running. They make it look so easy. I had this discussion. Nick Bear and I did another podcast together. It was our 4th podcast that we did together, and it was fun talking about training and stuff. But I don't know. I think this may have been off. I think it was actually off camera. But I was talking about how when people do something so well, like an ice skater.
Yeah.
They make it look easy. Like, oh, I can do that. That triple lux, land on one foot.
Yeah.
Like you don't even think about what kind of training goes in to be able to perfect that move and do it so gracefully and so smoothly.
That's how I feel when I watch golf. I'm like, oh, dude, I can look at how easy that looks. You go out there and I just completely shank like so much. But you put in the millions of reps to make it look that good, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I feel like when we watch Mackenzie. I sometimes have to remind her, Mike, you have been running on a team for 10 plus years now. Yeah. And you've put in those 10,000 hours. You've put in that work. And I know that was something that the film crew was commenting on. Even Parker Stinson said too, like Mackenzie's form is so beautiful, so strong. Like that's incredible. Yep. It's my favorite to watch. I remember when she was like 8 or 9, Nike actually did some cool little commercials with her. They actually named a shoe after her called the Mac. It was the kids' version of the Nike Wild Horse trail shoe that has 10 versions of it now that I've always worn. That's like my favorite trail shoe that they've made. They've since come out with several other trail shoes, but at this time, they were like, dude, we're going to do like a kid's version of the trail shoe. And they brought Mackenzie up to the Nike headquarters. She went on stage with John Truax. His nickname was Wild Horse. And he used to call her Pinky. She was so teeny tiny. Yeah. But I remember Mackenzie was known for her stride at that time. Yep. Like people would always comment. And when we would do Nike events, like people would come up and she's like, how do all these people know my name, Mom? And one day I asked her, I go, sweetheart, when you are running, do you think about your form, like, you know, your torso and your arms and that foot plant? And she's like, what? She's like, no, Mom, I just run. And I loved hearing that because she was a child, like a young child. Yeah. And it was so confusing for her to even like understand form, like running form. Like I just run, Mom. Yeah. And I thought there's something so pure about that. Yep. When you just go out and do something because you love it, yep, and it looks beautiful and effortless. I've told her so many times, I'm like, girl, you were created to run and to run fast and to run strong. And I'm so excited to watch where it takes you, because it's just, you know, there's just some people that are given gifts and talents that are so natural. Yep. It's like someone that has like just an amazing voice. Yeah. And they've always had an amazing voice. Or people that are just incredible artists, like for so long, it's so easy for them. Yeah. So it's been really fun over the years when Mackenzie has accompanied me. And then when she starts running, to watch people's faces when she starts moving, really moving. And it's so pretty. Yeah. I kind of sound like a doting mom right now, but really I'm saying that from like a coach's perspective. I've had a handful of people at times say, oh my gosh, Mackenzie runs, she has your stride. I'm like, she does not have my stride. Do not insult my daughter. Yeah. I wish I had form like Mackenzie. I do not have her form. I mean, she has this wide, long stride. I mean, she looks like a stallion when she starts going. I look like I've just been hit by a Mack truck. I have like this, struggling bear type.
That's not true.
Right. After the 200s, I felt like I was joking with Drew and Tyler about this. I'm like, I can't wait till we like really wrap this up. And now training for Western States, the training looks a little bit different, but like, man, a lot of the content out there, I just look like a ball of struggle.
Whatever.
This mass moving slowly through the trees. Anyways. Our Austin trip was pretty fun. I love that Bear Performance Nutrition, they love family. Mm-hmm. They appreciate me as a mom and as a wife. And so every time we do an event, they're like, okay, we're bringing out the whole family.
Yeah.
Gonna put you guys up in a hotel. We have these events for you. We're gonna drive you guys around. And I'm like, wow, like, thank you. Like, that isn't common or expected when an athlete works with a brand or when we do events. So they have done this time and again. I mean, our kids have probably been to Austin more than anywhere else.
Yeah.
But we had a great trip launching the gel. Mackenzie getting that workout in with Coach Jeff Cunningham. I mean, he's based in Austin. So as soon as he heard that we were coming out, he's like, oh, we're doing a one-on-one with Mackenzie. But, like all trips, Ed, there are some surprises.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I finished my 5-hour photo shoot in the 90-degree heat and humidity, we learned that our flight was canceled.
Yes.
And I was really looking forward to getting home on Saturday. It was going to be a quick 36-hour trip. We ended up flight canceled and canceled again. I think we were sitting in the hotel lobby because we were supposed to be going to the airport at that time.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, if these flights keep getting canceled, the one that they have now bumped me onto is now 2 hours delayed. That one will be canceled too. So I was on the phone with the American Airlines representative for a solid hour, and it's a lot of tension.
Yeah,
trying to figure out what we're going to do. Plans have to be broken. Things are changing last minute, and I finally just made the call. I was like, you know what? We could go to the airport, wait for a couple hours, have a flight canceled, wait a few more hours, have it be delayed and possibly canceled again, and then have to come back to Austin and find a place to stay. So I said, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get on this flight. It's already been canceled. It's already been delayed by several hours. Other flights have been canceled twice. So we rebooked a hotel. And we ended up having a nice time.
Yeah.
You guys went to the pool. I slept.
You did? You crashed?
Yeah, I crashed. I was exhausted. So thank you, Eddie, for being the entertainer. We had a nice dinner. Mm-hmm. We ended up having a good night when...
we went and got ice cream at... what's that place called?
Bear something? Broken Bear.
I can't remember. It was pretty good.
Went and got ice cream, and then you and I went down to the hotel... bar restaurant because there was live music.
Yep.
And we hung out for like an hour and a half, and that was like my favorite time of the trip.
Yeah.
It was much needed. You and me time, listen to some good music.
Yep. And
I thought, this is so much better than an exhausting, delayed flight, sitting in the airport, getting home at 1 a.m. I'm glad we made that call. Let's turn this into like a good afternoon, evening time with the family. So we ended up getting home yesterday afternoon, right off the plane. We had a graduation party for my good friend, Carrie Prince. Her son, Ezekiel, is graduating the day after, or tomorrow. He's graduating. So that was good. We got to connect with our friends, a lot of college buddies. And now here we are.
Well, let me take you back a little bit because we got into Long Beach. And we actually had a car at LAX. So.
We did. The only way we could get home at the time that we did our rebooking, because so many flights were canceled and delayed, and then everyone was rebooking. Everything was there. There weren't any flights left. Yeah. And so the only one I could find was first taking a 3-hour flight to Utah, then turning around and taking another 2.5 hour flight, whatever it is.
Yeah, I guess they were saying that I don't know if you heard, but there was like a pretty big storm in Dallas. That was like a lot of people. They weren't flying out of Dallas because there's a massive, sketchy, big storm. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I heard. So that's why all these flights are getting canceled. If you go through Dallas, you're going to get delayed or canceled completely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyways, so we flew into Long Beach, but our car was in LA. So I had the blessed opportunity to take an Uber from the graduation party to go get our car and then drive from LA back. So
back to Huntington.
But you know what? I do want to mention that the Uber ride. I'm not a big Uber drive guy. Like I don't do a lot of Ubering, and so I've done it a handful of times now. But this one was a 30+ minute drive with Rolando, all the way up to LAX. And let me tell you, that was the most entertaining 30 minutes that I've spent with a stranger in a long time.
Yeah.
His stories were quite impressive, very entertaining. And so I've never... it's one of those things where you either just do work, or you're on the phone, or you're quiet, or, but he was one of those guys that likes to talk. He even said, he's like, some of my bad ratings are because I talk too much. He goes, I know it. I admit it. I just like to get in this car and I share stories and I talk. And he was 67, and he said he started doing it like 7 years ago, and he's just because he retired and he wanted to talk to people. And so, there was some interesting stories he gave me. And so it was a good time. So, but made it back, and here we are.
The stories you shared with me yesterday were shocking, entertaining.
Yeah.
And
there was a range of emotions, like sad, like wow, crazy. Yeah. So he had his wife pass away, and he started gambling and getting into that because he was grieving, and then met someone that was a lot younger.
Half his age. Literally half his age.
Younger than him, had a baby who... He has a 5-year-old, and he's 67. So just some crazy stories.
It was crazy.
It was good to meet that guy, and we had a good time. So
I think one of the comments I made last night, I said, "Isn't it amazing when you choose to interact with a stranger?
Yeah,
what happens?"
Yeah, that's so true, because my personality would I just want to be quiet, and I just want to
really.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Kind of cruise and not say much. And but no, it was actually it was fun. It was fun to chat with him and swap stories, even though his stories were 10s and mine were like 3s and 4s. So
well, thanks for taking one for the team.
I took one for the team.
We definitely had to do a teamwork yesterday, because we had to kind of leave the graduation part at the same time. Isaiah had an event to go to, Mackenzie had an event to go to, and it was literally straight off the plane. We're just like back into fast forward.
Yeah. Yep.
Back into real life. This episode is brought to you by the Apollo wearable. Unlike other wearables, this is not a biometric tracking device. Apollo is a therapeutic wearable designed to be worn discreetly on the wrist, ankle, or anywhere by clipping it to your clothing. That works by sending gentle vibrations to the body that signal safety to the brain. It's a safe, non-invasive way to relax, get the sleep you need, focus your attention, and find your flow. Using the Apollo wearable consistently over time helps to retrain your nervous system, helping you recover from stress and feel better. A few things that I'd love to highlight about the Apollo. One, it supports the recovery process for runners and active individuals by providing a wearable solution that aids muscle relaxation and reduces stress after intense physical activity. This helps in quicker recovery, allowing you to train harder and more effectively. Now, Apollo is giving us a special discount code that I would love for you to take advantage of. You get to save $40 off an Apollo wearable by visiting the link in the episode description, or by going directly to apollonero.com and use code CHOOSESTRONG. That's APOLLONEURO.com and use code CHOOSESTRONG.
All right, enough about the McRaes.
Let's
get on to some Shoe Strong listeners. I want to just point out a few of them today, just because of their special, kind of the work that they've been putting in, some of the races that they did, and I want to highlight them. So I chose a couple that I'm going to read.
Okay,
all
let's
right?
go.
So Giovanna said in the Facebook group, "Thanks to Sally and Eddie in my ear, I finished a tough 50 miler. Even power hiking the last 20 miles, I was able to pass gap and bury a lot of people.
I love it.
It gave me confidence and the push that I needed to keep moving forward in the darkest moments, especially between miles 38 to 41. The race bib was yellow, and it was a reminder to choose strong."
Oh, I love that.
Giovanna
love that.
ran the Mohican Trail 100, which actually I saw a lot of people posting about that
Okay.
in Strava and in the Facebook group. I think it's out in Ohio, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, good job, Giovanna.
Yeah, great job, Giovanna. And I'll tell you what, I have been there in races before where I've found, wow, I have to power hike this in. I think earlier when I started as an ultra runner, coming off the road, being a soccer player, trying to understand how power hiking works into ultra running was a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
You know, I at first I thought, well, if I can't run anymore, then I should drop out of the race. Like I'm doing terribly, my performance is terrible, this isn't worth it. But power hiking is a crucial and even a strategic part of ultra running, especially if you are on trails and have segments that are mountainous, that have really steep climbs. You can use power hiking to your advantage because you're using different muscles. So you're giving those running muscles a break, and then you can click into power hiking. But I think I had mentioned this on a different podcast, how the one time I got to race in Australia, it was right after a family member had passed away, and I had a very, very tough time in the race. I ended up power hiking into the finish. I think it was the last like 12, 15 miles. It was a terrible performance, but I look back on that and I'm really proud of myself for not just dropping out, because I was moving so slow. I was moving very slow. But hiking it in, I remember having a lot of interactions with people, that were going the same pace that I was.
Yeah.
And I actually found myself smiling and laughing and having good conversation and enjoying it. And I think that's really a little detail that makes the ultra running races pretty unique, is you don't experience that like in a 5K or, a half marathon or even a marathon too often, where you just kind of settle in with other people that might be hiking as well. And you start to have like these great conversations and you're like, we're all getting to the finish line.
Yeah.
It isn't the way maybe we wanted it to be, or maybe it's not the pace that I was hoping for, but there's still like something really cool coming out of that. So, getting to a finish line should always be celebrated. And, it's okay if, if you fall off your pace and you find yourself slowing down, you're going to learn something and gain something no matter the pace that it takes to get there. So well done. Thank you for sharing that story with us.
Yeah. Next one's Colin from the Facebook group. Colin has a picture of him jumping at the finish line, which is kind of a cool picture. He says, I ran my first trail race, my first half marathon, first anything since a cross country race 25 years ago yesterday. I learned a lot, especially hydration, electrolytes on this 21K trail course with 1,000 meters of gain. At one point, I figured out the issue was that I wasn't drinking enough, and I swear I heard Sally say, heck yeah, and then laugh. It was great fun, and I'm looking forward to more this summer. It's true, we're capable of so much more than we allow ourselves to believe. So set goals that cause you some fear and keep choosing strong.
I love that so much.
Cool
that is
too.
super cool.
Heck yeah, and then Sally
probably laughed.
laughed.
I probably was saying heck yeah.
And I'm sure you were laughing too.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. All right. Laura is up next. Laura is also in the Facebook group, and she's got a picture of her with her yellow hat backwards with some braids, and then she's got her two boys with her. It says, the amount of, in quote, is that Sally McRae's hat? I love her, quote, that I got while running in this year's Alaska Endurance Trail Run out of Fairbanks goes to show what a far-reaching and positive effect that she has had. There was even discussion about how to get her contagious laughter as a ringtone while we ran 6-mile laps for 24 hours. My kiddos love her podcast, and I hope it continues to inspire them to know that they can do hard things just like their old mom.
Aww.
All right, let's talk about your laugh as a ringtone.
This actually was something you could download years back on Twitter. It might still be live. It's called Sally
somewhere
McRae's
out
Laugh.
there,
Yes,
there is a ringtone of your laugh.
There is.
Wow.
I had nothing to do with it. I have no idea who made it. If there's someone out there that wants to create it and send it to us, you're going to find it, I guess, in some podcasts and films.
That's true.
But yeah, that's pretty funny.
That is funny. All right. So Laura, well done. Good picture. And keep inspiring your boys. Next one's Kathleen from YouTube. Kathleen said, "Thank you, Sally and Eddie. I love listening to your podcast. I did my first half marathon because I finally got the courage to sign up.
Heck yeah.
Because of your great podcasts that have given me the confidence. I had a great race, and then I did a 5K race with a friend, and I had my fastest 5K ever. So thank you guys for all that you do. Love, Kathy."
I love that.
Kathy, thank you for sharing that, and huge congrats on signing up and then also killing a 5K.
Incredible.
All right, Joy from Strava. She actually posted this in the newly minted Chew Strong
Let's
Strava
go,
group.
which has been doing really well. I just checked
If you're
that
not in
out.
there, get in there.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yes.
All right, Joy said, "I almost turned around after mile 2, but I pushed past my feelings and I checked my long run off the list." She ran a 10.5 miles
Let's go.
and got it done, even though she wanted to quit at mile 2. So Joy, way to muster up the courage and the
Let's
strength
go.
to push through and Chew Strong. Joy, big props for you on that one. All right, Aaron is up next. We got Aaron from the Strava group. Says, 50 miles in my first backyard ultra. I just kept thinking on my last few, quote, yards to Chew Strong. She's got a picture of her in front of the big tent. What is that, big poster? So Aaron, well done.
Thank you, Aaron.
And the last one, we're going to Noah. Noah from the Chew Strong Strava group says, "I run for Rice Krispie treats." And then posted his 8-mile run. Noah, dude, I feel you. I see you. And you have a picture of you eating a Rice Krispie treat, which I'm very jealous of because those things are addicting. Those things are very, very good.
Very good.
Noah, well done. And 8 miles, I think you deserve a few Rice Krispie treats for that, dude. Big props to Noah. So, all right. So those of you out there that are doing work, we see you. We are cheering for you. And we love to highlight all the things that you guys are doing. So well done. And Sal, that's all that I got on this end for the highlights.
Well, I appreciate you highlighting all of these people, Ed. I feel like we could probably spend an entire episode just sharing the stories that the community has been sharing with us. And now that you've created that Strava group, we've kind of double, tripled, quadrupled up on that. Because I know you get the stories from everywhere. You get them through the contact email, in your Instagram messages, in the Facebook community, and now we got the Strava as well. So thank you so much. And I just want to remind you guys, you can even stop and do that right now if it's handy. We so appreciate the ratings and reviews. If you have a chance to do that on Spotify, we would just love to not only hear from you, but this also allows the podcast to reach more people. I just did a screenshot to you the other day. Our podcast has stayed in the top 200 in the health and fitness category in Apple for a very long time, which is, something that is we don't take lightly. Huge honor because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of, maybe hundreds of thousands. I don't know. I don't know what the number is.
Maybe 1 million. Maybe 2 million plus.
Maybe 1 billion.
Who knows?
Guys. Let's just say that. Let's just exaggerate
Let's
to
do
no
it.
end.
Let's do it.
No, that's actually a big category.
Yeah.
Health and fitness, it covers everything.
Yep.
And some of the most popular podcasts just across the board, beyond in every genre. Health and fitness is one of the top ones. So we need to thank you for putting us in that category, because it's also what allows our podcast to reach more people. So if you go into the top charts, you're going to find the Chew Strong podcasts hanging out right there.
Hanging out.
But we can't do that without you. So when you get a chance, give us a rating, a review. Yeah, we'd so appreciate it. Why don't we dive into the meat of this episode? For those of you that are running right now, we just want to give you a nod and tell you that we are so proud that you showed up to your training today. Keep drinking, taking those electrolytes. Remember that every step that you are taking, it matters. If you're racing right now, let's go.
Let's go.
We are in the middle of this episode, but we are very aware that people are listening to this during the race.
Yep.
So I just want to put my coach's hat on really quick and to remind you that, a race is going the distance. It's enduring to the finish line. So this also isn't just a training easy long run. So while you are challenging yourself to be the best that you can be right now, sprinkle that with wisdom and discernment in everything that you're doing. So you're taking care of your body, you're drinking, you're eating. And also one thing that I like to do when I personally race is to remind myself that I'm saving up something for the last 25% of the race because I want to be strong all the way to the finish. I like to do a little pass, gap, and bury at the last 25% of a race. So remember that. It's be in the mile that you're in with the wisdom to prepare for what's ahead. And so you're doing a great job. Keep it up, keep moving. And if you are in a trail race right now, my one tip for you right now while you're racing is get in and out of that aid station quick. Don't waste any time. Know what you are going to get before you get there. Grab it and keep moving. If you have an issue, you need to fix a blister, your stomach hurts really bad, yeah, take advantage and take your time in the aid station, take care of yourself, and then continue on. But those are your notes for those of you racing. Keep it up. Well done. Now, today's podcast, we're talking all about a strong body. And Eddie, I had said this earlier. I know strength training has been a part of your life for more than half your life. And you've interacted with it differently depending on the season, what you're training for, and the goals that you want to accomplish. Before we talk about some tips and some key things for our listeners to keep in mind as they tackle strength training in their journey, I'd love just to hear from you some of the maybe myths and beliefs that we hear about strength training just as a whole. I know that social media can both be absolutely wonderful for this topic. It can also cause a lot of confusion. And I think that we have, for as long as this podcast has been around, and I'd say for as long as I've had social media, strength training and how to go about it, how to start it, and how to specifically program it has always been a top topic.
Yeah, definitely. You think of all the different things that come with strength training where it's like you have the heavy weights or you have body weight exercises, you have, are you trying to put on weight, put on muscle weight? Or are you just trying to be strong? There's so many different things. And I know the bulk of the people that listen to this podcast obviously are training for race, most of them, and so I think it's important to kind of address some of these, myths that are out there or different opinions and beliefs because everybody knows that they should incorporate it, but they might not know how or why. And I know, for me, like I think back even to just the marathon that I've done, the only marathon I've ever done, is that I neglected that strength stuff. And I definitely felt it that last 6 miles. And I felt like if I did those things consistently, with the training, with the running part, I think I would have approached and finished that last 6 miles very differently. So I know, personally, it's very important, because I've done it before and I've not done it and I've seen the results of both. So, I think it's good to address these, for sure, especially for runners.
What are some of the things that you're hearing or seeing on social media, or maybe even some of the confusion?
Well, one of them is, when should you strength train? Just answer the question.
Okay, listeners, super sorry that for whatever reason we had to take like 2 or 3 takes there. We usually don't edit anything, but Eddie has the giggles.
Me,
apparently.
it's you.
He can't even ask me the most basic question. Okay. So when should you strength train? I'm just going to say the most direct answer is you should strength train year round. You're going to spit your coffee out. This is childish
What is
now.
wrong with me?
I feel like we are in the back of history class in 9th grade, and we've already been told 4 times by the teacher to pipe down. And now everything is funny. Everything is funny. Sorry, listeners, for that. All right. So when should you strength train? It should be year round. I know the important piece in all of this, when people ask that question, is that they understand that it isn't necessarily whether or not you are an athlete, if you're training a race or you're not. Your body naturally breaks down as you age. It breaks down when you put it through intense activities. And so you want to think about strength training in a different way. It isn't so much that I need to strength train just so that I can run my race well. It's I want to be strong head to toe so that the quality of my life is that it's as rich as it possibly can be. I think that one of the things that we find to be of so much value the older we get in life is our health, is the ability to move, is the ability to lift up things, and primarily lifting your own body weight. So, training for your entire life in strength training, it should be something that you work into your schedule just like anything else. So even to those of you that are listening that, aren't really into running, or you don't really like cardio, or whatever it is, that you understand that strength training, it needs to happen. And the cool thing is that we can build strength for our entire life.
Now, what about the person that has been training for a race for, they're doing a 100 miler, and they know they need to strength train, but they haven't really done that at all, but they know they need to include it. And so trying to fit it in, they, want to do it 2 to 3 days a week, but they can't, they don't have time to run on top of those days. So what do you say to the person that doesn't want to lose fitness, or do you lose fitness if you substitute those 2 or 3 run days for a strength session instead?
That's a great question. One of the things that I like to talk to athletes about when I have a one-on-one with them, when we're talking about strength, my response to that has a lot to do with what their base in strength training is. So just like you have a running base, you're coming in an off season, you build a running base, and then you start doing the more intense workouts. It's the same thing with strength. So if I'm talking to somebody who, let's say they're a part of a CrossFit gym for like 5 years, and now they are going to train for their first half marathon, we are going to talk about how strength works into that running program a little bit differently than someone's like, dude, I've never lifted. I've never walked into a gym and lifted weights. I love doing yoga. I like to stretch, but it's swimming, biking, cycling. I don't really do anything outside of that. So it's understanding that whenever you introduce a new activity into your routine, there needs to be a beginner level, a base that's built, a foundation. And so typically what I like to do just across the board with all athletes, so if you have a strength background or you're brand new to it, is first always just start with a body weight assessment. And that's just kind of running yourself through a series of exercises just to see what your starting point is. I think one of the issues that we get with people that are, let me just talk specifically to those that are training for a race. So if you're training for a race, we can get overwhelmed with this idea that strength training means I need to go and lift for an hour, and I'm lifting heavy weights and barbells and doing these long programs along with it. And the truth is, if you're working through a race training program, strength training should complement your running, not take away from it. So running goals are primary, and keeping your body stable, balanced, mobile, and strong for your run workouts is key. So you can easily add 2, maybe 3 days of strength training to your run workout days. So when I say run workout days, like your harder days, you put the strength training after that. So I would go nail the tempo run or nail the hill workout or the intervals, whatever it is you have for that day. And then when you're done, add some strength exercises after that. Now, keep in mind, while training for strength, while in a race training program, your strength work, it will look different than when you are in your off season. So I like to pivot with athletes and say, all right, let's focus more on PT style exercises and strengthening the unique areas where you are specifically weak. So a 20-minute session can do wonders for an athlete. You throw in a 20-minute session a few times a week, you're going to feel that. You don't need an hour-long, exhausting weight session. What you need is to make sure you're strengthening the areas that feel weak when you run. So I think for the majority of runners, we can all do ourselves a favor and do exercises that focus on the glutes, the hips, the core, and then single leg balance and coordination and mobility. I'd say that those are the primary things I focus on when I'm in the middle of my intense training leading up to a race. So I think some of the confusion, some of the myths about runners and strength training is I'm going to put on all this muscle weight, or I'm going to be spending hours in the gym. I have to lift these heavy weights and have to have all this equipment. You don't. Every body is different. We all will break down. We all have imbalances and weaknesses, even if you strength train every day. Like we just have imperfect bodies. And so I know, having been in the gym for 30 plus years, I've built up a big foundation. I am able to strength train in a different way than I would say to a beginner or even someone that's intermediate, simply because I have 30 years of strength training on my body. So what I could do, 10 years ago is different to what I can handle now. And so building strength is very important. And I don't want this to be something that's confusing. So if you're listening, you're like, I really don't know where to start. I'm in the middle of a 16-week marathon training program right now. What do? I'd say if you're in the middle of that, go and do an assessment on yourself. And it just so happens my app, I do have an assessment in there. If you go to Start Here, it's a category in there. You can look at all the Start Here. I give some information about how to use the app with your training program. But then there's a category called Running Foundations, and in there's an assessment, very basic assessment. It's like 6-7 exercises. The whole assessment might last, 5, maybe 10 minutes. And really what you're doing, you're just getting feedback on yourself. And the exercises are things like sit on a box, come to standing on your right leg. Okay, sit back on the box, come to standing on your left leg. See if you can do 10 on each side. I remember doing this exact exercise before I started working with Coach Newman, Coach Stephen Newman here in Southern California. He is my strength and movement coach. He actually now works with my daughter. I worked with him for several years. I don't work with him anymore, but very beneficial to me. I was actually in shock when he had me do that exercise. I can't even remember how many I did. On my right side, I could sit on a box and come to standing on my right leg like 100 times. On my left side, I struggled through 20. And it was very revealing to me because I didn't go to him weak. I didn't go to him with not having knowledge of strength training. I'm a strength coach. Yeah. I coach people. I mean, this is something that's been a part of my life. But I did have an imbalance. And we worked on that. And it changed pretty quickly, too, because we really tackled that side. But it taught me, it's the feedback that I needed. And I think sometimes we are weak in areas that we don't know about. I mean, even this idea of just balancing on one foot. I used to post this all the time. It's putting on your socks and shoes, balancing on one foot. You put your 2 socks on the ground, 2 shoes on the ground. You reach down, you pick up your sock. You balance on one foot, put your sock on. Yeah. Reach down, pick up your shoe, put your shoe on while balancing on one foot. That's a very difficult exercise.
Yeah, I was thinking I should post that. Like, I should do that.
And give it a...
Me falling over, like...
Of you doing it?
Here's what not to do.
Here's what not to do. The whole point here is you need to figure out what your starting point is.
Yeah.
Some other exercises that are there. There's like a plank, some push-ups, there's step up onto a box. And then you go from there, you start training, and you start training the areas that you find that you have imbalances or weaknesses. And I think there's some mobility testing in there too about the ankle. I think that's one of the most overlooked body parts that is absolutely crucial for runners. The mobility of the ankle, the strength, all around that in the lower leg. As you fatigue in a race, a lot of times you're going to feel those stabilizer muscles in the lower legs either weaken or cramp. And we see ankle injuries too from people because they have really stiff ankles, and then they get on a technical trail and it's not fun.
Yeah.
So for you, listener, for your own unique body, you can't just go online. I mean, you can go online and just pick any workout and do it, and you'll probably get some good, some good training, right? You're going to strengthen yourself. But what I want to encourage you to do is first have some type of an assessment, so that you can get some good, positive, efficient feedback so that you know what to tackle. So if you find like, wow, my glutes and hamstrings are really weak, like I'm going to pick routines that strengthen those things.
Yeah.
Or your core. If you have a really hard time doing core exercises, man, that can really help your running form. And so going back to just the simplicity of all of this, give yourself a run, give yourself an assessment, strength and mobility assessment. And then being in the middle of or just starting out on a race training plan, pick exercises that are going to tackle your weaknesses, and then focus on glutes, hip, core, single leg balance and coordination and mobility type exercises, and just try to fit those in 2 to 3 days a week. Do them after your run. Honestly, 15, 20 minutes is all you need. You're really going to notice a difference doing that. Now, to answer that same question, for those of you that actually aren't training for a race right now, this is different. If you are wanting to get stronger, if you know I could really benefit from this, dedicate a strength training cycle. So dedicate, if you know later in your year, I'm going to be training for a half marathon or a 50K or a 100 miler, in the fall, give yourself 6 to 8 weeks where you're just focusing on strength. I think you'll enjoy it. I know, Eddie, you've enjoyed your strength training cycle so much. You've even missed running a little bit. I get the same way. In my off season, I always do a strength training cycle, and it rejuvenates me mentally. It gets me excited about running again, but then I feel good. I feel strong when I am going to start a run training program. So what does that look like when you implement a strength training cycle? Well, you can pretty much choose anything. There's a lot of incredible programs out there, whether you choose something online or you grab a book. I always encourage people in my app to try the 4 and 6 week program that's in there, but you could also just get creative and do a 3-day rotation. So a 3-day rotation looks like this. Monday, you work on your upper body, and you could choose upper body exercises. Tuesday, you work on the lower body. Okay, so you're recovering after each of those things. Let's say Wednesday, you do some type of cardio. It could be anything: biking, hiking, swimming, walking. You can even put yoga in there. Then Thursday, let's just focus just on glutes, hips, and core. Maybe you just focus on just like a body part. And then you can go back to the upper body, back to the lower body. The thing is, there's so many parts of you that you can work on and really focus on throughout the program. You can get creative. There's so many great programs that are out there that are great for runners. But here's the thing, we break down from head to toe. So having a strength training cycle, building that foundation it's vital. It's vital just to your everyday life and to the longevity of the sport that you love. The worst thing that I see is athletes who get injured over and over again in the exact same place. And they also say, I don't have time to strength train, or the PT exercises don't feel like they're working. I just don't have time for that. I love running too much. And it's like, yeah, I so get that. As runners, we love to run. Don't tell me I have to run less miles so that I have to go strength train. I get that at my core. Like I'm the same way. But I'll tell you what, it is worth it to run 1 mile less so that you can go spend 10, 12 minutes on strength. You will be able to have a healthier, stronger, less injury prone season if you do that. And that doesn't even have to be every day. Pick a couple days a week where you're doing that. But if you're in the off season, find out where you're weak. I mean, it wouldn't be such a bad idea, if it's possible for you, to go and have a PT, a sports PT, do a run analysis on you. Have them do a head to toe, say, hey, can you check out? I want to see like how balanced I am and just kind of see the areas that I need to work on. Can we do some strength testing? Can you do a running gait analysis? And really use that off season as a time to fortify your body from head to toe.
Nice. Yeah. So strength training all year round and it kind of depends on what your goal is, right? So if it's a race coming up, it's designed for that. And then if you don't have a race, you're kind of building and getting stronger. So when your training cycle does come, you can kind of head into it feeling strong. So speak to the role, I guess, of strength training in like everyday life, right? So the importance of, I guess we're all getting in and out of chairs every day, right? Like, so I guess is that part of that everyday role of strength in your life?
Yeah, I think just kind of going back to what we were talking about in the beginning, that the everyday quality of your life is so important. Your health is so valuable. I think for our listeners, if you can remember a time when you were injured, or maybe you might be injured right now, there's frustration that comes with the injury, mentally, emotionally, physically. I mean, sometimes it keeps you from hanging out with your friends who maybe do a long ride or a long run on the weekend. And that's where you get your social time, because you're busy with family and work all week. I really understand how when we have an injury or, health is declining, or we're sick, or even as we age, things don't feel as strong. That there's this idea that, strength training can be a negative, that it takes up too much time, or I'm going to get bulky. It takes away from what I'm doing. And I think we just focus so much on the sport that we're doing. And so we look at strength training as kind of being in the way. And so that's why I always like to bring it back to, let's just think about your everyday life and let's actually work backwards. So as we age, we start to lose very basic things, the ability to get off the ground.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You see like a toddler run around, they fall flat on their face and they bounce up like a basketball, right?
Yeah.
And they do it again. And it's like, as adults, the older we get, when we see that, we are in awe.
Yeah.
Because it's like, can you imagine?
We do that. We're calling an ambulance.
Yeah, we're calling an ambulance. Eddie, you were a teacher out on the playground, elementary schools, for many years.
Yeah.
And so you'd see that all the time. Kids would hit the pavement and, they'd skin a knee or they'd cry for a couple minutes, but they'd get back up and go play the game. They go play basketball with their friends or get back out on the playground. It's things like that take us out a little bit more, the older that we get. The ability to get up and out of a chair. We travel quite a bit. So we see this in the airport a lot, how hard it is for people to get in and out of an airplane seat or to get up and out of, just up the ramp. Being able to lift a child or boxes when you're moving, going up and down stairs, moving across any terrain, whether it's the sidewalk or gravel or a trail that you're hiking. Strength training allows you to fortify your body for your everyday life and for whatever is ahead. And I think that that's one of the greatest goals that you can set for yourself. I know we talk about so much about running on this podcast and mental toughness, but you have to remember that your body's a gift, and it's this gift. You get one of it. No one else gets to have your body. And you get to take care of it. You get to strengthen it. You get to challenge it and test it. Your feet can take you to so many different places. I mean, so really think of your body as a gift and how it really doesn't have a price tag.
Yeah.
It's invaluable. You are. And realizing that you can use your body to impact others around you. You know, this idea of like picking up a child, giving a hug, being able to, you know, we have people in our life too. It's like they can't attend events because their body isn't strong enough or their health isn't there. And so they don't attend events. And that is, and I know that is part of aging. That's just part of life. You know, having a mom that was in a wheelchair in her young 40s, like I think that that's one of the things that impacted me so much is how valuable our body is. And my mom did everything she could, you know, growing up to try and take care of her body. So there are things that are absolutely out of our control that break our body down, you know, that's a part of life. It's a part of, you know, the pain and beauty of having a body, right? And so I think that's why I take that so seriously, because it isn't so much about us getting to the finish line. It's like the way that I interact with the world and how I feel every day when I wake up. And I'll tell you what, listeners, it is not easy to stay consistent and to always be working on our body. We get tired. I mean, Eddie, you and I were talking about this just earlier. I'm like, it is tiring being a parent and being consistent in the rules of our house, being consistent just in all the things that we believe to be, you know, operating as a good parent. Like it's tiring. It sucks a lot out of you. But then on top of it, to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, some of these people are working, and then to go to the gym, like sometimes it's the last thing you want to do. Or to, you know, set that alarm clock at 4 a.m. because it's the only time that you do it. We want you to know we feel you in all of that. Like we talk about that all the time because I think our lives for all of us, they can feel busy, they can feel heavy, it can feel crowded and just overwhelming, and adding in something else, it just, man, it doesn't always sound fun. It doesn't always sound like a good idea. It doesn't sound like we would be able to do it. But I'll tell you what, you and I, Eddie, how many times have we gone to the gym together, or you've called me and said, hey, I'm running out to the gym. I got 30 minutes to get this done. And you finish and you're like, I'm so glad I did that. Yeah. Like it, I know this is a quote that is often circulated, but like nobody finishes a workout and says, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, right.
It's you finish and you're like, dude, yes, I was so tired or like mentally just exhausted and done today, but I am glad I got out and got on a bike. I got that weight session in. You know, I only ran 2 miles, but it was a lot better than nothing. Yep. You know, I did something, and that's why that quote's really powerful for me. You know, something is better than nothing. Done is better than perfect. And that idea is that there's consistently coming back to your body and strengthening it is powerful for you. Yeah. It's powerful far beyond the race that you are training for. But I want to say with much compassion, I understand that it's hard too. And I especially understand too, you know, we get messages from people who say, I haven't done anything in years. Like I actually let my fitness go. I don't feel great. I've been through some really hard seasons in my life. That was the first thing that I let go. And I don't know where to start again. Or I'm just now starting, like I've started with doing a 20-minute walk away. I want to say I am so proud of you. And I want to tell you too, from the bottom of my heart, if you are feeling lost about your health and you are feeling like, man, it's just so hard to get out the door. Or maybe you're just down on yourself. You look at yourself in the mirror and you don't like yourself. Hey, I like you and I appreciate you. And I believe that every day that you get up in the morning, there's a purpose for you to be here. And true fitness, true health, and true strength does not come overnight. It is going to take a while to change your body, to strengthen your body, get healthy. It's just little bits every single day. And that's real change. That's real change. There's patience in there. We have to be patient to build, but you also have to have hope and belief and really believe that you are worth that work, that you are worth putting that work on your body and in your mind to strengthen yourself. So the title of today is Strong Body, but we are tapping into a strong life.
Yeah.
And you just feel better when you can move better. And Eddie, I'm sure you remember after I had both kids, Mackenzie and Isaiah, those were both traumatic for me.
Yeah.
And, it was the first couple weeks were always really hard because, they were emergency C-sections, basically emergency stomach surgery. And mentally, emotionally, physically, that was very difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then bringing home a brand new baby. But I remember, and I'm the kind of person, everyone in my family knows this, I'm pretty squeamish at medical procedures, blood, pain. I don't, watching other people in pain, I can't stand that. But I remember when I think Isaiah, they didn't sew me, they put staples all across my stomach.
Yeah.
And I remember, every day I had to change out the bandages. And I remember standing and looking at myself in the mirror and not liking what I saw and just crying. Both kids, I gained a lot of weight. So I think with Mackenzie, I oh my goodness, I think I gained 70 pounds with Mackenzie, and I think Isaiah was 40 or something like that. But, I'm looking at my body. I'm like, I've got all this extra weight, and I look swollen. I have staples going from one side of my stomach to the other. And I have a brand new baby. And it was very easy for me in that time to just feel so lost and down, and to also feel like it is going to take me years to get back to any type of fitness. It was really, just going on a walk was so uncomfortable. And I'll tell you what, both times with both Mackenzie and Isaiah, it was really hard work just to get back to running a couple miles. And so whenever I talk about this, health, strength, taking care of yourself, looking in the mirror and appreciating your starting point, appreciating that body that you have. I say that with deep empathy because I know it isn't easy for all of us. I think sometimes we scroll on social media, we look at people around us and we think, well, that's just easy for them. They've always been fit. Exercise comes easy. They look good in their clothes. And I go to the gym and I feel so left out. Looks like everyone else knows what they're doing and I don't. And we hear this in the running community. Is why I made that post for Global Running Day that I did. I said, your pace does not determine whether or not you're running. Whether or not you're a runner, showing up and trying does. Whether you're running a 13, 14 minute pace or a 4 or 5 minute pace, we're all doing the same thing. We are moving our bodies and it's beautiful. And so I just want to encourage you in this as you think about strength, your perspective, it's got to be in a healthy, good spot. And the healthiest spot as it comes to strength is how it's going to impact your life, your total well-being, and how you connect with people around you.
Yeah, so that's great. That is so critical to just have strength for just everyday movement and the longevity of our bodies, right? But you talked about you had the kids when you were in your 20s, and you've been training since you've been in your teens, and you're still training. So I guess it really doesn't matter, male or female, like whether you've had kids or not, your training is different. And you kind of alluded to this already, but I guess in terms of you have a base and you build upon it until, you're doing what you're doing now, you couldn't have done 10 years ago. So talk us through a little bit how it's changed, or maybe how you trained in your teens, then what it looked like in your 20s, and all the way to where you're at now. Just to get an idea of how it's
progressed.
Yeah, progressed.
Yeah, I think for our listeners, this is maybe like the exciting part, is seeing that I look back on my strength training journey. It has changed. It's progressed. I think there's one of the things I started noticing at the end of my 30s. So in my late 30s, early 40s, and is so natural. I noticed I was losing a little bit of muscle. Now, granted, too, that was also around the time that I really started my bad water cycle. I did that 3 times.
Yeah.
And my training changed, but I was like, wow, I looked a little bit not as muscular as I was used to my entire life. And so, but I knew a couple things were going on. I was like, as you get older, you do start to lose a little bit more muscle mass. You don't build it as easier, as easily as you usually do. And so, really just like in the last few years in my off season, I actually lift more frequently and heavier than I ever have in my life. And I love that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has been really good just for my system, just overall to give myself a break from running and just lift heavy and primarily focus on that. And I think it's helped keep my body strong and toned. Instead of just run 12 months out of the year, week in and week out, high mileage. I really feel like the older that I've gotten, that the off season where I'm primarily focused on strength training, my off seasons will be anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks. I really feel because when I'm in my season running, I push it to the max pretty much those 10 months. I mean, Eddie, you know this. I race a lot and I race far. And so that's just the respect I'm giving my body. I also take my off season around the holidays. So I'm very particular about how I structure my year. You know, holidays can either be super busy, but they can also be stressful. They can be emotional. You know, you're dealing with family and tradition and all the things and traveling and just lots of events. And so it's such a great time for me to take a break from training. And so really it's like head to toe rejuvenation for me and then building strength in that time. So I wasn't like that in my 20s and 30s. And really it wasn't until say like 5 or 6 years ago that I kind of made that commitment to myself that I'm not racing between Thanksgiving and January 1st. I don't do races. Like that's just the commitment that I made. I'm not great racing by the time I get to those weeks anyway.
Yeah.
I'm so beat up. I mean,
end of the year.
Yeah. You remember when we were driving to Moab 240 last year, and on our way to the race, I was joking with you how I was so excited for my off season.
Yeah.
I mean, my body was so tired and exhausted. And not only that, we didn't do a big discussion on it. I was traveling every single week doing huge events. I mean, we finished Lake Tahoe. I went straight up and did the lift run shoot with Cam Haynes. We did a family vacation in Sedona. Then I went straight up to Washington do Bigfoot 200, and I was totally sick. I was on meds up until the night before the race. I decimated myself in that race, and 2 days later went to Leadville for 3 days and did appearances. It was insane.
Yeah.
And then came home for 2 days and went to UTMB for 8 days. I had 12 events that week. I mean, there was like one day I had 4 events. I was literally running across the city square trying to get to these places. I had so many speaking events and appearances, and we had a couple photo shoots. It was, crazy. I mean, I don't know. Like, I was really jacking up and I knew that.
Yeah.
But I think what I was relying on was years and years of building up stamina, endurance. See, this isn't anything, again, as I said, that's something that I had confidence in. But it was a terrible way to lead up to Moab.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't do a film on Bigfoot, but I had horrific nerve pain in my feet for weeks after Bigfoot. I think I really only got good feeling back in my feet like maybe 2 weeks before Moab. So my training was all over the place. And so we drove out to Moab 240 and I was like, I can't wait for my off season. My body is crying for me to stop. So, and that's just me being real, raw, and transparent with you guys. You know, this is something I've learned the hard way. I've learned about myself over the years, how to take care of myself. And so my off season is protected. It's valued. I look forward to it. I think many years ago, I was afraid to take one. And at most, sometimes I'd take like 2 weeks off and then get right back into training. And as the years went on, I started to notice even fellow competitors and other people in the running community who never took off seasons. I was like, wow, people are getting injured and totally burnt out. And, you're seeing them race for a few years and you don't see them anymore. And I thought, I don't want to be like that. I really love this sport. And so I need to take care of myself. So the recovery season, that off season, coupled with building up strength, having a time where I'm just focusing on that, that has been, I think in my 40s, a huge, huge focus. And, 20s, you're still figuring it out and you think that, you're invincible and you got tons of energy. I don't think that I ever got more than 4 or 5 hours of sleep in my 20s.
Yeah.
And that wasn't just because I had kids. I was like that in my teens too. So I knew as I moved through my years, being strong also had to do with that sleep, but it took me a while to get there. Yeah. Ed, so what about you? I mean, I've seen you since the time you were in college. Strength training has been a really important part of like your soccer program. So you were programmed by a coach to lift a certain way. I remember the workouts that Coach Orr would put you guys through. They were pretty gnarly because then he would take you guys straight out to the track and make you run hard. I remember you lift and run, right?
Yeah, occasionally. It wasn't very, common that we would do that, but we would do, and people were throwing up. It's more of like a hit style workout inside the gym, and then we'd have to go out and do the 100-yard sprints. I mean, you get in
old
great
school
shape.
CrossFit.
Yeah, get in great shape. But I mean, I remember coming into the program and learning how to deadlift and how to squat. I never did any of that, in high school. At most I did, the bench press, here and there. And that was kind of it. Maybe some curls and stuff, but no real like dedicated training and, in terms of strength training for soccer. So I was learning all those movements in college when I only weighed like 88 pounds. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Trying to throw up weight that was heavier than me. But
I remember your coach saying you needed to put on some weight.
Yeah.
Your freshman year.
Yes. Yeah. But I wish, thinking back, I'm like, man, I would have been nice to be more committed, in my teens to build the muscle and to learn the movements. So I could have kind of, made that jump a little bit quicker in terms of strength and weight gain that I wanted to make in my 20s. But I mean, I feel like I always see kids now in the gym that are in high school that are on the soccer team, or they're building
our local gym.
Yeah, the local gym. They're in there constantly just getting after it with, just the squats and
it is different for them. Like their generation, I feel like that for our kids too. Like that's what they do. They go to the gym with their friends. Yeah.
I never did that. And even the guys on my team never did that. So I don't know if it was maybe the culture of, I guess specifically soccer has changed, but now it's man, there's some strong kids.
Yeah, we see the football players in there, the baseball players, soccer, lacrosse. They're all in our local gym.
Yeah.
Training. And I know Mackenzie, all the runners, when they're in off season, they're in there too. It's really cool to see that. So I think there's a little bit more awareness for the youth. I'm curious. So Eddie, we are talking about how you have strength trained over the years, but what would you say to the guys that are trying to figure out where to start? Because I feel like when I go to the gym with you, it is apparent. You have knowledge on like form, how to lift weights, what to do, what like body parts, what exact exercises work what. I mean, and you've been a part of a lot of programs over the year. I think I had shared this earlier. Like when the kids were babies, you would do like the Beachbody, like P90X, 90-day, training cycles. You would stick to those things to a T. It was amazing. I mean, you were working like 60, 70 hours a week. And sometimes I remember you at times going into the garage at 11 o'clock at night and you hammer out like an hour and a half workout in there. Like, you were very dedicated. And I know you have said you like having something structured. If someone just tells you what to do, then you can do it. But I think back over the years, the last couple decades, you've gained a lot of knowledge and understanding about, okay, if I want to work my shoulders, I know what I would do. If I want to work back, biceps, abs, like you're pretty well versed with that. But you've alluded a couple times to your marathon cycle, how I know you were battling some pain. And so you were limited even in strength training and cardio. Like, your training had to be pretty precise. And so you weren't also able to do all the strength exercises you wanted to do. But now that you have focused on primarily strength right now, are you feeling like you're getting stronger in those areas that you felt weak in running? And if so, what are you doing?
Yeah, I have definitely felt stronger because, just lifting weights and being consistent with it just, you get stronger. Obviously, that's the goal, right? So yes, I have felt stronger because I did literally nothing in terms of like consistent strength training while I was trying to log those miles. Now, I wish I spent more time, doing the single leg squats and
the boring
stuff,
the boring, unsexy exercises,
the glute stuff, the mobility stuff, that would have definitely helped me those last 6 miles, of my marathon. And because I neglected those, I struggled those last 6. But I think if I had to do it over, I would definitely, like you said earlier, just, going one less mile to spend 10 minutes on a strength exercise or one of the weaker, muscles that you have, like that would have really, really helped. I was good at doing the running that you told me to, and then I would maybe stretch or roll out, which is great, but I definitely neglected those exercises that help runners, be strong when they're running. So, so I definitely since have just focused on the lifting or the strength part, and I definitely feel stronger. I am stronger. I can, I know I am.
I see it.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. As I'm flexing. No,
but you do. Ever since I've known you, you put on muscle very easily. I feel like the McRaes do. So kind of backtracking a little bit, because I asked you what would you tell guys to do as far as their running goes? I don't really feel like it differs from men to women, but like, are you agreeing with me that really what you need is the PT, basic bands, basic dumbbell, body weight stuff? I mean, is there something specific that?
No, 100%. I agree with you, because I know for me, when I ran half marathons in the past that I've probably had my best times in, it was because, I think I've said this before too, but it was because I was on the stairs all the time. That's that single leg, just kind of, no extra weight, but it's that single leg just kind of going for it. And
that's a hard machine.
Yeah. And
the stair mill, not Stairmaster. Do not be confused. The stair mill is a beast of a machine. It's huge, and it just rotates upward and stairs pop out. Basically a treadmill.
Because you're pushing up that next step with your body weight. And I was doing that over and over and over a couple times a week. And I feel in my core that is why I ran well those times in those half marathons. So I did not do that. I did not do the stairs. I did not do the single leg stuff as much as I needed to, when I was running. So I think all of that stuff definitely contributes to, your strong runs and strong races that, that's, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't trying to shift your opinion in one way or another, but I think now that you've been through that experience, and seeing you do the half marathons, I just wondered if there was a difference, because I know you like to lift heavy. I know you actually like to get in, and you do the barbells.
Well, heavy
and
is relative because my heavy is a little different than the guy next to me, but yeah.
I know. I guess like there's you're right. Heavy it's relative for all of us.
Yeah.
You know, for some people, a 8 pound dumbbell that's going to be like that's their heavy weight.
Yeah.
They're going to start with maybe 1 or 2 pounds and build from there, which is great. I think that's what's so cool about strength. I love it when you're like, oh, dude, I can like lift a couple more pounds.
Yeah.
Like that's so rewarding.
Yep.
But yeah, I know you get on the bench press and
Yeah.
you know the deadlift. You do all of that. So, I guess one of the things that we often hear, frequently asked questions as it pertains to strength, people are confused about which kind of program they should do, and I guess that's. You know, that kind of, it all goes back to the individual, of course.
Yep.
Okay, what's your foundation?
Yep.
But I think I like to just break it up into 2 categories. Are you training for a race or you're not? Because training year round, you're going to have these cycles where you're strength training trained. So,
Yeah.
so in your opinion, if you are, let's say you sign up for the Long Beach half marathon, which is typically in October, is
Yep.
it November race?
October.
Yeah. So once that race, let's say you started training in August, August 1st, you started training for that. Would you be doing something different in the gym as far as strength training goes?
Yes, I would, of course. So right now, since I'm not training for a race, my typical, I go into the gym and it's 90% of it's just upper body stuff, and that's all I'm doing. Is just 90% of it.
Yeah.
And then maybe
Got to get that V. Huh?
That's right. I'm trying to get that V, baby. And then I might do some like squats and some leg press type stuff once a week. And if I miss that day, oh well. It's one of it's not a priority at all. So if I was to train for a race, though, if I was smart, I would probably reverse that and spend 90% on leg stuff, like strengthening my legs and core, and then maybe 10% kind of upper body. That's what I would do differently. But yeah.
So in short, if you are in a race training program, you got to make that the focus.
Yeah.
And the strength training, it needs to complement it. So discover where your imbalances are, where your weaknesses are, do a little assessment. And you can even make up your own assessment. You don't have to use the assessment that is in my app. Eddie, I know you like to do that with weights. You like to do a little assessment on yourself, like kind of like
I'll go up and I'll try to pick up the 100-pound. I'm like, I can't even pick that up, so I guess I better go a little bit lower.
Yeah, down to the 90s.
Down to the 95s. Yep. Nope, still can't.
I'm always perplexed why they have those in the gym.
What, the 100?
There's like a 0.001% of gym goers that use the 90 and 100-pound dumbbells.
That's true.
Everyone's fighting for the 15s,
That's
the
true.
10s, the 20s.
They should have a lot more of
they should
those.
have
You're
a lot
right.
of those, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I need to tell them what I think.
Yes.
I need to go to the front
Get on that,
desk.
Sal.
Hey, guys, you need to replace your dumbbells. Here's why.
In your free time, Sal, why don't you get on the email and shoot them over an email?
My free time, right? No, for real though. I think the focus here is just encouraging people to get on the strength training.
Yeah.
Train.
Yep.
Don't be intimidated by it. The best place to start is by doing an assessment. You can make up your own, and then track that. As people walk around in the gym all the time with little notebooks, they're either writing down the exercises they did. What that allows them to do is also to see how they're progressing, how they're improving, and even write notes like, wow, like today my right Achilles was so tight, or like my left shoulder was not moving in the, with a good range. And little things like that can be really helpful and helping you prevent injury.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, it's the best place to start. You start with you. It'd be really easy just to hop on, whatever fancy workout or the latest trendy workout that's out there. But remember that no program is created with you in mind, unfortunately, unless you work directly with a coach or a strength trainer, which is great too. I've coached athletes in running who also have a strength training coach or a personal trainer at the gym because they've told me, they're like, I just need someone that is going to count the reps and tell me that my form is good, and someone that I can talk to about my running that understands and is going to give me something good. But it's something that we can all do. You don't need to have a degree in strength training in order to incorporate it. You just take a look at your own body, find out where you're weak, strengthen those things. If you're feeling good, you're feeling injury free, then I'd say you can always start with glutes, hip, core, single leg balance, coordination, and mobility. I mean, you can go back to that over and over again, those main areas, and it's really going to help your running. Mm-hmm. So Ed.
Yeah. What's up?
What is on the strength training program for you today?
For today?
It is Friday. And
I don't think it is Friday, actually. I think it's Tuesday or Monday.
It is Tuesday. No, is it Monday? I'm not even going to say what day of the week it is.
Is.
All that I know is this. This weekend, we are throwing a graduation party for Mackenzie Diane McRae. This is her last week of high school. And I can't even think straight.
Yeah.
Because we have so much to do.
Seriously.
And I just can't believe it. But what is on the strength training workout today, Ed? What is it? What are you going to log?
Do you know what? I don't have it on the schedule. I think I'm going to try to just get to the gym and
see how you feel.
Do some upper body. Do some upper body stuff.
Work on the V.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Walk around for 30 minutes and call it a strength sesh.
Would you be willing to share any interesting stories from your gym going? I mean, you've been going to the gym almost as long as me. We started going to the gym. I remember, I think it was the summer of our sophomore year is when we started training together.
Yeah.
We were 19. And we would go run. Mm-hmm. You and I would kick the ball around outside on the soccer field, and you were not very nice to me.
What? What are you talking
you
about?
would shove me to the ground.
You lie.
You were so competitive. Don't worry, listeners. I held my own. I held my own.
That's not true.
I held my own in the running, in the soccer playing, and in the gym.
That's not true. I dominated in all three levels.
I dominated. But do you remember going to 24-hour fitness together?
Yeah,
like the summer of our sophomore year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was...
It dawned on me the other day. It was like, I just remembered that. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've been going to the gym together for a long time.
Yeah.
I have been on the treadmill watching you lift weights for more than half my life.
Yeah. That's sad for you. I feel bad for you.
Hey, it is great entertainment for me. I love watching you get strong, baby.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's wrap this one up.
Let's wrap this one up. We want to give a shout out to everyone that is running right now.
Yes.
As always, we just like to encourage you in every step that you're taking. You showed up today. You decided to put the work in. And we're proud of you, and we are always rooting for you. If you're racing right now, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's pick up the pace a little bit, just for like 10 seconds. See how that feels, huh? Just 10 seconds. Let's go. Let's do it. 10 seconds.
Let's pass Gap and bury some fools.
I love it. Hey, you better save a little bit for the end so that you can do that. But also, if you're training or if you're racing, make sure you get in those electrolytes, get in some calories. If you're listening to this in the summer, summer's coming up.
Yeah.
We're still in the beginning of June, but temperatures are warmer. And that's a very real thing. So pay attention to those electrolytes. When you are done with your training or your racing, fill up replenish those electrolytes as soon as you can. It's going to help with your recovery. But take care of yourself out there. That is what is going to get you to the end of your training. It's what's going to get you to the finish line. You know that hydration and nutrition play a massive role in these endurance events. So we're excited for you. We're excited we got to join you today. Thanks for listening to Everything Strength. And Eddie, any other good words? Look at you shaking your head from left to right. Listeners, I'm sorry.
I got
He
nothing left.
knows that I'm going to end the podcast with, hey, Ed, do you have a good word? And you just like sit there and laugh at me.
Yeah, you would think that by now you wouldn't ever ask because I don't got anything else.
I have to comment on the fact, Eddie, that I don't know if everyone knows this, but I've teased you before that you are not a man of many words. In fact,
I'm not.
You on the podcast is probably the most that people will ever hear you talk. I'd suffice it to say that even our close friends that listen to this, like our college buddies, are like, oh my gosh, I've never heard Eddie talk so much.
This is the most I talk all week, this hour.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Listeners, you must know that this is true. So
it wears me out so much. I'm silent the rest of the week. I'm like, that was a lot.
I'm so proud of you. Like, this has been so fun doing the podcast with you because you are just the constant back and forth and all that you have to share. You keep the conversation fun. I know a lot of people appreciate listening to you. So thank you for showing up. I know you don't like it when I put you on the spot. So when I say, hey, Eddie, give us a good word, it's you just saying, don't do that to me.
Stop. Yeah. Don't do that anymore. Cut it out.
Because Eddie actually has a lot of good words and he has a lot of encouragement and kindness. I know you spread that throughout our entire family, but that's also something that I love to do. And I got some good words for you no matter what, any time of day, 24/7. That is part of my purpose here on earth. It is to encourage you in all you do. Keep choosing strength in mind, body, in your life, in all your decisions. Eddie and I are cheering for you, and we want to encourage you to keep choosing strong in all you do.